Financial Irresponsibility is my middle name. We have books. There's 10 books here in this stack. You can't see the bottom, but you know what? I'll show you the bottom. Don't drop the books, don't drop. There's the bottom. Okay, so I have a lot of books here, guys. I have a lot of books here. So this week I have attempted to read 2 books, finished one, paused another one, and I bought 9 books. 2 of these were mine, 7 of these were my wife's. And our running joke was seeing, this is basically these 7 books and the 8th one that she got like a couple of weeks ago, basically her reading list for the next 5 years. And let's see if she finishes any one of them. There's one of them that she actually likes. I'll get to that in a second. But let's see if she finishes any of these anyway. Okay, so let's go to the first one. I just completely zoned out. I read DCC Book 4, The Gate of the Feral Gods, and I have to say, the themes of fucking were crazy in this one, to be honest, okay? So after book 3, I was like, fuck trains, and I went into book 4. Not many spoilers, but there's just so many sexual innuendo, sexual related things. Like the place that they went to was a massive, imagine a sheet of bubble wrap and you have multiple bubbles on that sheet of bubble wrap. Basically the stage 5 in this book, floor 5, was each bubble was its own quest for a specific set of crawlers, and you just have to do your four tiers of quests, pop the bubble, and then you can descend down. Now within that, no spoilers, so many sexual things happened. There were prostitutes, there were changeling prostitutes, a woman who can change into anything. The guy who was trying to get the prostitute to change into things was like Nurse Joy, but basically was like, yo, can you change it to this woman, and then this woman, and then this woman? And I was like, okay, Matt Dinniman, I see what's happening here. And then Mordecai creates this potion that essentially is a reducing fall damage potion. But the way that it reduces fall damage is it speeds up the crawler to like slam into the ground 5 times like this. And the inspiration for that potion was from a crawler many seasons ago. And she was like, you know, this rock ox creature, in order to impregnate the female of their species, the males have to, in quick succession, penetrate 5 rapid times to break, to break some rock exterior, I don't know. So she was like, what if we just did that with a potion, and then we can break fall damage? So when they fell, they ended up falling and going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really fast. And I read that seed and I was like, okay, Matt Dinniman. And then, this might be a spoiler, but one of the like bad guys in their quest this time around was, he was a mage who was trying to imbue the spirit of his waifu god into a sex doll that was talking to him, telling him to go to this place to imbue, to like, release her from the nothing world, and then imbue her into the sex doll and then marry him. I really pick some of the dumbest books to read, don't I? It doesn't even stop there. He gets duped because the god that is speaking to him from the nothing is not his waifu god. It is a different god who tricks him, and he still imbues that god into the sex doll, but then he ends up marrying the offspring / little friend of said fake god, which is a sand creature. And then this guy turns into a sand mage, a glass mage actually. He then proceeds to have intercourse with said sand creature. We don't know how that works. And then I was like, okay, Matt Dinniman. And then apparently the changeling is actually in love with the guy who was asking her to change into all the different women. And then I was like, okay, Matt Dinniman, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, I don't know. Like, first of all, this book was great. This book was great. The emotional things that happen in this book, the character changes, the progression with all the characters, the way the story is progressing is really cool. So all sex jokes aside, this one fucks. Okay, this book fucks. All right, this one's good. This one's good. I like it. I liked it. It was definitely better than book 3. Book 3 is probably the weakest out of every single one of the books so far. Okay, but what I'm gonna say is that the epilogue confirmed what I had been thinking all along in regards to some of the characters, and I'm so psyched to see what happens in book 5. I'm so psyched to see what happens in book 5. Don't know when I'm going to read it, but I'm so psyched for it. Am I psyched for book? Are you also psyched for book 5? He's also psyched for book 5. We need to talk about all these books I bought. So yesterday, I was feeling kind of low, feeling kind of in my feels yesterday, feeling very insecure and out of it. So my wife took me to Mango Mango and the nearby Asian marketplace. We bought lychees. We bought seasoned seaweed. She bought lychee and seasoned seaweed. She also bought a lychee rose drink from Mango Mango. And then I was like, wait, there's a Barnes & Noble's on this street? And then I took us in a turn to Barnes & Noble just because I wanted to buy some books to feel good. That's really all it was, right? Then I drove into the Barnes & Noble's and there was a 50% off sale going on. I was like, oh, gee willikers. Maybe I can save some money and buy books. I bought 9 books for $200. So, turns out none of the books that I actually wanted to buy were part of that deal. Turns out none of the books I wanted to buy were part of that deal. So, but we still did it anyway. Probably because when we were at the cashier and they were ringing us up and we saw how high the bill was getting and we didn't want to like stop it. So we have 9 books now added to our collection, and where are they going to go? I don't know. I have now decided that my wife will have one of these boxes on the side to herself. That is her box of books. When she wants to read, she knows she goes to that box because those are the books that she bought for herself. And we're going to start with each book because last night, instead of watching TV and stuff after eating and everything, I was like, do you want to play the game that I usually play when I buy a ton of books? And she's like, what? I said, I read each book for 10 minutes and just see how I feel about it, see how far I get. And she said, sure. So both of us read each of these books for 10 minutes each. That's a lie. Both of us read 6 of these books for 10 minutes each. Each of us only read, actually no, it's not 6. Both of us read 8 of these books. 1 book each of us we just didn't feel like reading, and I will tell you about that when we get to it. So, without further ado, let's just talk about each book and then our initial thoughts on it. Okay, the first one is Juliet Cross's Firebird, and this is how the edges look, which is actually amazing. It is sick as fuck. But real talk though, no meme. This shit was so intriguing when I read the beginning of it that I was like, I'm so jealous, wife, that you get to read this and I don't. It's essentially if the gods were dragons, and the prologue starts with a god coming down and blessing a woman and her 2 sisters with different boons to go rid the world of evil men. And then that is kind of where the story goes. Fast forward to now, you have Melina and her 4 or 5 sisters or whatever are part of this traveling group of performers. They come across this huge Roman centurion, basically a high general type of person. I don't know exactly what the army classifications are in the Roman Empire, but a Roman centurion, and Melina identifies him as a dragon. So why is this dragon here? We don't know. They go out, they perform. Melina puts on this crazy provocative performance, makes eye contact with said Roman centurion because she's like pushing the fold, like, for her, she's like, I'm showing him that I'm not afraid by putting on this heavily provocative dance sequence in front of this guy for his attention, and he flips her a really interesting gold coin afterwards. She goes out, she runs into him. He's like, I gave you that gold aureus because my god Fortuna told me that you may have need of this in the future. And when my god tells me something, I listen. And he said, I want nothing from you in return. Good luck, little Firebird. And that is where I stopped in chapter 1. That shit was crazy. That shit was actually really, really cool. Once again, I'm super mad that she gets to read it and I don't. I have a mind to read this when she's at work, and I'll just sit home and read it, and then we kind of read it side by side. But I know I'll be done with it way faster than she would. But no, I'm gonna let her finish it, tell me about it, and then I'm gonna read it myself. But that's Firebird by Juliet Cross. Really intriguing. This is how you start a book with really interesting intrigue, if that makes sense. The book that I did not read that my wife did was Rose in Chains. This just looks like a romantic-y type of thing, and I don't care enough for it. And it was late at night. It was supposed to be the last book that I read, and I was like, fuck that. But she was like, it was okay. It was standard. So I was like, okay, cool. That's really about it. I don't have much to say on this. She might. But it has to do with a prophecy, a woman, a white-haired man, a brunette woman, purple tattoos. I don't fucking know. But, maybe this is good. I don't know. If you read it, let me know. This one is fucking interesting, though. I saw this one at Barnes & Noble's. It has gold sprayed. Oh, let me show you guys. These are the sprayed edges on this one, by the way. This one has gold edges. Did not buy it because of sprayed edges. I bought it because of the book, but my wife did buy things because of sprayed edges. We are two different people. So Arcana Academy by Elise Kova is actually interesting. In this world revolves around the magic of tarot cards, and you have magical tarot cards, and you have minor suits and major suits. I don't know what that means in the world of tarot, but maybe you do. The way the book starts is basically this woman, Clara Greysword. Greysword is the name used for people who are orphans. Clara Greysword is incarcerated because she is caught inking tarot cards off the record, not legally, basically illegally. Because apparently in this world you have some people have the power to put magic into tarot cards and all that stuff, etc. So she's incarcerated. Cool. She's living her life in prison. Damn, that sucks for her. In comes along Prince Kaelis. Kaelis. Prince Kaelis. This is a bad motherfucker, okay? And we can already tell this is going to be the male attraction of Clara. He's basically like, who the fuck is supplying you all of these inking materials? Because you can only get them at Arcana Academy, and you're not a student at Arcana Academy. And she's like, I can't really tell you, but the entire sequence is basically like, he basically swords of revealing lights her into telling the truth, because she'll die if she doesn't answer all of his questions, which is really cool. And you get a little taste of how the tarot magic works. But that's where I stopped. Is he basically says, okay, cool, you told me the name of the person who gave you these things. Have fun dying. You're getting executed tomorrow. Boom. Done. That was the end of chapter 1. There's obviously a book ahead. I'm so intrigued because tarot-based magic is not interesting in the fact that it's tarot cards. It's interesting in the fact that it's just card magic. And we've talked about it before. I love Card Mage by Benedict Patrick. And so this is like in my alley, front and center, right up there. Okay? Some might say it's right up my alley. And Arcana Academy, yeah, I'm fucking excited to read this. I don't know when. I should not have bought these books when I still have other books to read, but I did. Just off the first chapter alone, I can tell you guys, I'm gonna dig it, so you guys might dig it too. Let's talk about Hexed. This one's really fucking standard, and I don't care for it. Neither does my wife as much, but she was intrigued by it, and I think she might eventually read it anyway because we do have it. I don't care for it. I don't think I'll read it. But basically, Vanessa Anderson is a assassin who uses poison and is a hit woman, essentially. And how much of her I read, I learned that she's an assassin, a hit woman who uses poison. She has an uncle who is the gang lord of the South. She has a cousin named Arya who's a little bitch, who's a spoiled, pretentious brat bitch. And Vanessa is trying to somehow she encountered a dude washed up on the side of a riverbed and is trying to revive him, or at least help him. And Arya's like, leave him alone. Don't get involved in these things. Maybe he's like a gang member of New York. You don't want to get involved in these things. You're working for my uncle, etc. Blah 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 blah. And then the guy wakes up and Arya starts doing some humming fuck shit around him, and that's where chapter 1 stops. So, listen, I don't care at all about anything that happened in this book. Realistically, I don't. I think this is just like romance fantasy or romantasy. I don't know which one it is, but it did not intrigue me in any form or fashion. But if you have read Hex, let me know. If my wife ever finishes it, or if I ever read it, I will let you know what I think about it. But my first impressions were not for me. This is quite literally the only book I went into Barnes & Noble's for. Literally, I only went in there for this book. And so here we are now. This is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I've been seeing this around quite a lot on like Book Talk. I know nothing about this book because I don't watch reviews much anymore, and I just saw that it said Raven and Scholar, and then I just picked it up just because it said Raven and Scholar and it was purple, to be completely honest. But a lot of people like this book, right? So I started reading it, and it's interesting. Essentially, we are following the family of a deceased traitor who tried to launch a coup against the current emperor and failed, but then the family themselves were pardoned. So we are following Yana, her twin brother Ruko, and their mom Yasila. So we are following these three essentially, and they have been, summoned to see the emperor, etc. Not much has really happened. It's just kind of set the stage, right? You have different clans in this, different clans slash kingdoms in this world. We know her father was a traitor. We know that she, Ruko, and Ysilla don't really have any powers, but we do know that certain law enforcement of the kingdoms have powers, right? And I'll give you an example because I think this is really cool. So I'm gonna put up a map for you guys, and then just pause the video, and if you want to. But this is essentially a map, right? So this is a map of the Grand Canal Temple Island, the Imperial Island, where I'm assuming they live, and we don't know much. But apparently, each palace, hound, bear, tiger, raven, ox, monkey, and dragon palace, they have their own military or whatever, and they have certain abilities. So apparently, some of the high-ranking officers of the Hound Palace, who are called like houndsmen, hounds, policemen, whatever it's called, they have the ability to read minds, which is like fucking crazy to give the ability to somebody to read minds. It probably has some limitations, but we encounter a military officer who is taking them to said emperor, and he can read their minds and answer their questions as he says them mentally. So that's really cool. So much intrigue in this world, set up pretty okay. I'm not sure if I will love it. I think I will. I think I can find things to love in any book, as long as they're not called insatiable. But I'm just super excited to start this book. I think it's going to be very interesting, and this might be a new obsession of mine. I don't know. Ravens have been a very recent obsession of mine, to be honest, but I don't know. We'll see. The Raven Scholar, though, by Antonio Hodgson, started very interestingly. I'm excited to keep reading more of it, and I'll let you know when I do. First impressions are, I think I'm going to like it. Next, we have to talk about the Jasad Heir. So the Jasad Heir is one that I picked up just because I've seen this book around. From what I saw about this book, I thought I was going to like it, and so I picked it up. It's by Sarah Hashem, the Jasad Heir. It is her debut novel. And I have to say, it is very intriguing, okay? We do meet the main character starting off. Her name is Sylvia, which is a fake name that she's given people. And essentially what happened is a couple of years ago, she came to this chemist, beaten up, like dirty, homeless, whatever it is, and told them, my name is Sylvia, I'm X years old, my birthday is on this day. And the chemist was nice enough to take her in and teach her the ropes. Sylvia is a Sylvia. Her name is a lie. Her birthday is a lie. Her age is a lie. So just from based on the name Jasad Heir, I can only assume that she is an outcast of previous royalty, where the current administration would probably kill her if they knew who she actually was, and she's trying to lay low until she can have her revenge, and get back her throne, etc. All those things. Quite literally, I've just read way too many books like this, and so that's just what I assume. Where I stopped was essentially she leaves the chemist from her day. She goes to a different place. She doesn't go home. She goes to a third home, helps somebody in need, gives them medicine, then is heading back. But she's not supposed to be doing this, so she's sneaking around, etc. And then she runs into an officer, and that's where I stopped. But I can already tell you I'm going to enjoy this book. You know why? Because even though it looks like a really good fantasy book, the text is also really large on this book. Fuck you, The Will of the Many. I'm going to very much like this book. It's very intriguing. I have been becoming a bit more of a fan of political fantasies, in a sense. I don't know if this is a political fantasy, to be honest, but just the way it's going, I'm interested in it. The prose is very nice. I have to say, in the books that I've been interested in, the prose is very nice. It's not a mental struggle to try and read it and decipher the words and the sentences and the phrases. The imagery is glorious. My brain just eats it up. It just eats it up, etc. I'm really looking forward to consuming more of the Jasad Heir. All right, guys, I did it. I bought the Spellshop. This was a book that my wife had seen at Target months ago, and she was like, "Oh, put it on your list. Maybe I'll find the ebook online or something like that, or like in our public library." She never found it. She forgot about it. But I was like, you know what? I want to read the Spellshop. I feel like it's going to be a magical, whimsical story that I want to get into. The first chapter was not that magical and whimsical, but I could tell, like, if I dig a little deeper, it's going to get there. Both my wife and I thought the same thing. Like, if we didn't have enough time to dig into this to really feel like what the book is trying to achieve, but both of us were like, if we read a little bit more, we'd probably be more engaged in it. It was just, I only got to the first chapter in 10 minutes. All of these books, I just tried to get to the first chapter. Some of them I didn't even do that in 10 minutes. But I can already tell you that this book is going to be very interesting, very whimsical, very magical. I already love Kaz. Kaz is a sentient talking spider plant, and I love him. I think Sarah Beth Durst knew what she was doing when she created said spider plant, sentient talking spider plant, and she knew that a reader like me would love a talking plant in a book. And I do love a talking plant in a book, so I'm excited to eventually read the Spellshop. It might be this year, it might be next year, I don't know, but I will be reading this book at some point. You can count on it. Turn my head to the back, Ash Ketchum, believe it, okay? Here are 2 books that I don't give a fuck about. This was actually mine. I bought 3 books, she bought 6. This was a mistake, and I might read this just for the vibes. Filthy Rich Fae is basically about Kate Holloway, an emergency department doctor, and she works in the emergency department run by Lachlan Gage. Lachlan Gage is the citywide gang lord who rules this side of New Orleans, if not the entirety of New Orleans. And usually she would have left him alone, gone about her life, until her brother is rolled into the emergency center, takes a bullet, and she realizes her brother is in with Lachlan Gage. She doesn't know why. Apparently he owes Lachlan Gage money. He is in with the gang. She doesn't know why, and she's like, fuck everything. I'm going over there and giving Lachlan Gage a piece of my mind. Everybody's like, don't do it. He pays for his emergency center, basically so that all of his gang members can get their medical treatments as they need, etc. But we don't know. We don't know who he is. We just know that he's a complete ruthless like gang lord, not badass, like a bad apple type of thing. And one little tidbit that they rolled in was the second guy who was rolled in with her brother Channing. She noticed his ears were a little bit different, but she couldn't really place why. That probably points to the Fae part at the bottom. So that's where it is. That's where I stopped. Once again, I will probably read this book for the vibes. I don't have any high expectations. Don't expect it to be on the top of my recommend list, but I think I'll just read this for the vibes just because it's something to read. Last but not least, Battle of the Bookstores by Ali Brady. I thought this one might have been fun, cute, like haha, tee-hee, whimsical, jokey, comedy, etc. I don't like the way it started. I really don't. I feel like it's a bit pretentious. So essentially you have this busy street where you have these 2 bookstores, right? Tabula Inscripta, which sells classic literature, nonfiction and fiction, and Happy Endings, which only sells romance. Tabula Scripta is run by this woman, this woman, what's her name? Josie. And the bookstore Happy Endings is run by a guy named Ryan, who she keeps calling Brian because she does not know his name and she thinks it's Brian. And in between these 2 bookstores is a coffee shop. So there's bookstore 1, coffee shop, bookstore 2. Some dude comes in and buys all 3 shops and says, you know, I don't think there's any reason for there to be 2 bookstores and a coffee shop next to each other because the coffee shop keeps saying, hey, they come in and read books in my coffee shop anyways. So he was like, why don't we just tear the walls down and have a coffee shop in between a bookstore? Does that idea seem unique to you? A very groundbreaking idea, right? Like, honestly, this guy should be a billionaire after this because he really saw an opportunity and he went for it. But then he tells them in the new bookstore / coffee shop store, only one of you is going to manage it. I don't need 2 managers for 1 bookstore. So he has told them for the next 3 months, while construction is happening, whoever has the best financial records, whoever does the best in terms of the finances and the respective bookstores gets to manage the joint new venture. And that is where I stopped. The reason why this book feels pretentious to me is because there's so many points of like, I think 1, the book is just written really dumb. I don't think the jokes are haha funny. I think everything is just like clear as day. I'm not intrigued by either of the characters yet. Maybe Ryan a little bit, because like why the fuck is a dude selling romance books, talking about and has buttons like smut and shit on him. Also, Can you guys can you guys let me know what does STFUATTDLAGG mean? Because I know shut the fuck up, but I don't know what ATTDLAGG means. It's an acronym for something, right? I don't know what that means. Here's the book cover again. They gave Josie a little bit of ass. They gave Ryan height, messy brown hair, and warm golden eyes. They gave Josie a messy bun and high heels. They gave Ryan a cardigan. Apparently Ryan has a white cat. Maybe two white. He has a white and a black cat, I think. That is Battle of the Bookstores. I think after talking to you guys, I'm still going to read it just to see if like my first impressions were maybe misguided. But if they're not, I can verifiably yell about this. But I'm going in here with no expectations and just trying to see if this book is good. But I think it's just going to be like kind of it might be a miss for me. My first impression, the first 10 minutes, which was the first chapter, is just like, this one might miss for me. This one might miss for me. So that is all the books. And now I'm going to redo these books in order of which ones I really do want to read, which ones I don't want to read. And here's the stack. Ta-da! In order of the books that I really did like and the books that I didn't really care for from top to bottom. On top is the ones I cared for, on the bottom is the ones I didn't care for. And the ones that I'll probably read in specific order, to be honest. So that was my entire book haul of the week. That was my entire book haul in one day. And I have to say it was pretty fun. We spent 45 minutes in Barnes & Nobles. I did see a book that I did not pick up. It was a book, Five Swords something. Maybe if I remember how the book cover looks, I'll put up on the screen for you guys. My wife and I were interested in it, but then just randomly, one of the other customers who was walking by had actually read it, and she said, yeah, it was a really good book. I was very surprised. I'm already into book 2, and it's a completed trilogy. 5 POVs that are actually really, really good. Very interesting story. We didn't buy it. Only because we didn't know that we were going to buy 9 books anyway. If we knew, I probably would have just picked it up for the 10th one. But we were like, oh, okay, cool. And then we both saw the summary, and I was like, I don't really think I care about this type of story right now, though. It was more so like 5 assassins getting sent to kill a feudal lord, and each assassin has their own story of secrets and betrayal and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really care at this point in time about the story like that. So yeah. So that was the book haul and the reading update. I will finish off with... I'm probably going to start The Burning Queen next by Aparna Verma, because I really want to, and it's on my list, and I don't want it to extend any longer. And we will see how that goes. Before I start any of these, I will read The Burning Queen by Aparna Verma. That is next on the list. I have an ebook form because it's an ARC. And I'm pleasantly excited. This shirt, this design I made for Aparna Verma. It just took me a couple of fucking samples to really get it. But it's essentially Elena and... Fuck, why can't I remember names? Yes, son. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot that name. Yeah, so this is basically Elena and Lawson. The concept design for this was basically Elena's reading something with a little scowl on her face and like, you know, playing with fire. And then Yeson's over there like, holy shit, she just, you know, almost killed me with a pillar of fire. That was the whole idea. That was the whole concept idea. I thought it's pretty cute. If you actually like look at the design up front, it is pretty cute. But yeah, so, you know, that was just a fun little project I wanted to do. And I kind of want to keep doing more with that with Fableware. But hey, if you like this shirt, just let me know. That's really it. You can't buy it anywhere yet. It is exclusively a gift to the author. But if she wants to make it something, she can. If you guys like it enough, I can maybe convince her to maybe sell it. But this is not for sale yet, unless you guys want it. But yeah, so that was a fun little project I got to do. That was really cool. Apparently her birthday was earlier this week, so I kind of a birthday gift for her. So that was really cool. So that is the end of this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Send it to somebody who you think would also enjoy this video or a book haul like this. If you read any of these books, let me know your thoughts with them. If you haven't read any of these books, let me know if you're thinking about reading it and why. Let me know what you're reading actually, if you don't mind, in the comments below. If you have any book recommendations for me that are aside from any of this stuff, leave it in the comments. I'm 0 for 3 on book talk recommendations, and so I would love for BookTube to help me out and have a little battle going, right? Our BookTube recommendations better than book talk, the only way I can know that is if you guys recommend me books. You know what I'm saying? So if you have any book recommendations, let me know. And I will catch you guys later in the next video. Talk to you next week. If you are interested in, you know, book clubs and reading and read-alongs and everything, I am still reading The Will of the Many with my co-host Tim Fasciola. We have book club lives every Monday. Right now, it is now every Monday at 9:15 p.m. EST because life got busy, but we are still working through The Will of the Many as well, which I will also be reading next week along with The Burning Queen. I will talk to you guys later. Have a great rest of your days. Peace.